Facebook. Aris ya, tapi berbeda ya kalau misalkan Aris
dibeli awak. Ke sana lah. Selamat pagi Pak.
Pagi Pak. Selamat pagi. Pak Mudi.
Iya Pak.
Apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah baik Pak. Sehat Pak.
Sehat. Ada.
Pagi Pak.
Pak Imam nih lagi sibuk.
Oh ya Pak.
Pagi Pak Dekan. Yang bagus.
Pak Imam.
Bisa tempat. Imam kok nggak gitu itu ya suaranya ya?
Suaranya nggak kedengeran.
Hah? Suaranya kok nggak gitu jelas ya?
Jelas Pak.
Jelas. Kalau saya jelas ya?
Jelas Pak, jelas.
Jelas ya? Oh ya.
Jelas Pak Iman, Pak Nares, selamat pagi. Christine Pak.
Oh,
Mbak Christine.
Christine.
Apakah suara saya jelas?
Jelas Pak Nares, jelas.
Oke.
Pak Iman ini.
Pak Iman, jelas. Pak Iman, jelas.
Ya. Mbak Christine rasanya pernah kenal ini.
Bapak ini sombong ya, bukan baik.
Sehat ya?
Alhamdulillah Pak.
Kayaknya Afrika lagi nih kita Mbak.
Hah?
Prof Elias apa kabar?
Halo, baik Pak Seca ya?
Iya, saya.
Pak Seca makin ganteng aja Pak
Jumpa lagi.
Seca.
Jumpa lagi.
Iya.
Baik, Bro.
Jumpa lagi Pak Seca.
Iya.
Ya.
Ya, Pak Nares, Pak Dekan, apa kabar?
Kabar Pak.
Selamat pagi, selamat
Baik.
pagi. Terima kasih.
Siapa main musik tuh? Siapa bapak main musik?
Gue ada Dr. Ismail dari BRIM. Jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum semuanya.
Pak.
Wih. Banyak yang daftar nih.
Halo, boleh testing lagi sekali. Share slide, boleh kak? Organizer.
Neng Ismail.
Coba share slide lagi sekali boleh?
130 lebih.
Apa ada ambil ini?
Mana tuh?
Hello everyone, good morning.
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 Morning, good
Dr.
morning.
Yas.
Hello,
see
good
you.
morning,
Yes,
Dr.
Pak Iman
Yopi.
also. Dr. Ismail also already joined with us.
Morning, Evi.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Done. Ready.
Professor Hasmadi also. And I also see Wudam Chang. Wudam, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. No, it's a evening, right?
Yes.
In Oregon. Yeah, how is Oregon? Wudam is coordinator for Division 3 IUFRO. So actually, I work under his coordination. Actually, we have more than 500 registered participants, but I think now they are in line in queue to join our webinar. So, but now it's already 10, so I think we should start the programs right on time. Is it okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So, Ibu Bapak, Puan, Tuan, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Good morning from Bogor here. So, webinar will be begin soon. So, may I have your attention, please? I'm Evi Juliet Yofi. I'm IUFRO Research Group 30.07 coordinator, and also editor-in-chief of Journal Management Hutan Tropika. And today it is an honor to serve you as the Master of Ceremony, okay, for this international webinar entitled Forest Operation and Climate Change, the Real Sea Approach. So, Bapak Ibu, Tuan Puan, ladies and gentlemen, here I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. I note here actually we already have 197 participants in the Zoom, which is will be increased soon, and also in the YouTube live streaming. So I also want to inform you that we have a wide scale of geographical distribution of the participants here. We have some from Japan, from India, also Vietnam, Ghana, Sudan, Mexico, and also Europe, Ukraine, and some other countries. So I'd like to say Ohayo gozaimasu and Namaste, Makye, Sabah al-Khair, Hola, ¿cómo estás? Pranit, and to all of you, hi and hello. So back to today's program, I want to welcome our three honorable speakers. Already joined with us here, Professor Elias from IPB University. Hello, Prof. And Dr. Iman Santoso from Association of Indonesian Forest Concession Holders. Hello, Dr. Iman. And then Dr. Ismail Parlan, he is Director General of Forest Research Institute Malaysia. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Ibu. Hello, Ibu.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Also, we have a moderator, Professor Hasmadi Ismail from University of Putra Malaysia. Hello, Dr. Hasmadi.
Hello, hi. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Efi, Ibu Efi.
Waalaikumsalam.
Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you too. And also join with us here, Professor Wudam Chang. Wudam is coordinator of IUFRO Division 3, and also he is a professor in Oregon State University. Hi, Wudam, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event.
Thank you, you're welcome. So, Bapak Ibu, before we begin this webinar, I would like to inform you again that this webinar is hosted by IPB University in collaboration with IUFRO, JMHT, Journal Management Hutan Tropika, and UPM. And to begin this program, we're pleased to have Dr. Nareswaran Nugroho, Dean of Faculty of Forestry and Environment, IPB University, to deliver this opening speech. Dr. Nareswaran Nugroho, time and place is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yofi. My voice is clear? Okay. Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Coordinator of International Union of Forest Research Organization, UFRO, Division 3, Professor Wudam Chung, as a Coordinator RG 3.07 UFRO, Dr. Insinyur Yuliati Yofi, and Deputy Coordinator Dr. Nurizah Kamarudin. Distinguished international speakers, Professor Elias, Professor of the Department of Forest Management, Faculty of Forestry and Environment, IPB University. Distinguished guest, Dr. Iman Santoso, Vice Chairman of Association of Indonesian Forest Concession Holders, or Asosiasi Pengusaha Hutan Indonesia, APHI. And distinguished guest, Dr. Ismail Parlan, Director General of Forest Research Institute Malaysia, FRIMS.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. How are you?
How are you? Thank you.
Okay.
And Honorable Moderator, Professor Dr. Muhammad Hasmadi Ismail, Professor of Faculty of Forestry and Environment, University Putra Malaysia, UPM. Hello, Doc. Hello, Prof.
Yeah, hello. Hello, Doc.
All participants and committees of this webinar, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for other part of the world. First of all, let us praise to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, that most loving and the most merciful, for His blessing that enable us to be present in this very important events today with via Zoom platform meetings. On behalf of the host of the international webinar on forest operation and climate change, the Real Sea Approach, it is my great pleasure and delighted to welcome all of you to the international webinar today. This international webinar organized by the Faculty of Forestry and Environment IPB University in collaboration with Jurnal Manajemen Hutan Tropika, AYUFRO, and University Putra Malaysia. I hope you are always in good health and successful activities, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic situation that disrupt our normal life. We are happy to share that there are more than 580 registered participants of 30 countries of Asia Pacific, Europe, Africa, America, who represent more than 90 institutions with various backgrounds from academics, researchers, government, practitioners, forestry company, NGO, and journalists. Together, we can meet virtually to learn together and share ideas regarding reduced impact logging for climate or Real Sea. As we know, carbon emission is a global problem that needs more serious attention. The Real has received widespread attention from researchers and entrepreneurs in forestry business due to the relatively low cost of implementing Real with perceived environmental benefits. For getting the most benefit of Real Sea, forest managers need to know how to adapt their harvesting operation to optimize emission reduction at a minimal cost. Therefore, this webinar aims to discuss the Real Sea from the point of view of academics and entrepreneurs as implementers of forest exploitation activities. The discussion is expected to sharpen understanding of the benefit of and to provide a starting point for identifying Real Sea best practice with the best potential for reducing carbon emissions. It is very encouraged that there are many participants from various backgrounds in this event, so that it can strengthen the dialectic of more views and discussion related to the Real Sea. We also agree that the Real Sea alone does not guarantee forest sustainability. Worker safety concerns and various non-carbon ecosystem services need to be included as a measure of the Real Sea performance for sustainable results. This issue, therefore, must be addressed in the next webinar discussing the sustainable forest operation in the tropics. Before we close this speech, we would like to thank those who have worked hard to organize this webinar and all the speakers. We are also very grateful to the participants of this event. We hope you can always support and join our webinars. We also hope you can enjoy and actively participate in the discussion of this webinar. Thank you for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Dr. Nares. Thank you, Dr. Nares, for that wonderful opening speech. In addition, I also would like to inform you that Jurnal Manajemen Hutan Tropika has opened a call for paper for 2022 publications. The main topic for this coming special issues is forest operation in the tropics, with the specialty on the timber and non-timber forest products. So the deadline for the submission is February 2020. And you can go to the JMHT webpage for further information. And back to the program, now I also would like to invite here the coordinator of AYUFRO Division 3, Professor Wudam Chang, to deliver a glimpse about AYUFRO. Professor Wudam Chang, time is yours now.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And good morning, everyone. It's really good to see you all And thank you again for the invitation. My name is Udam Chang, and I'm a professor at Oregon State University in the US. I live in a small town called Corvallis in the state of Oregon, and it's 10 after 8 p.m., so it's getting closer to my bedtime. So forgive me, please, if I fall asleep in front of a camera or if I have to exit to go home. So, anyway, it's real my pleasure to be part of this webinar, and especially this is very important topic, forest operations and climate change. And on behalf of UFRO and UFRO Division 3, I'd like to thank the organizers, especially Professor Effie and Professor Noriza, and also organizing committee and also organizing institutions, University IPB and also University Putra Malaysia, for hosting, again, this important webinar series. And of course, I'd like to thank all the speakers today, Dr. Nugroho, who gave a welcome speech already, and also Professor Elias, Professor Indro Yono, and Dr. Ismail for giving presentations today, and also Professor Hasmadi for moderating discussion session today as well. And last but not least, I'd like to thank and welcome everyone here, the attendees, participants who joined and tuned in this webinar today. Thank you so much. And also this webinar is sponsored by UFRO Division 3. Please allow me to introduce briefly what UFRO is. And for that, I'd like to share my screen because I have a short PowerPoint about UFRO. So UFRO, most of you know what UFRO probably is, but UFRO stands for International Union of Forest Research Organizations. And basically, UFRO is a global, the largest global network of forest science in the world. UFRO unites more than 15,000 research scientists in forest science around the world from more than 600 member organizations in 120 countries. So it is indeed the largest global network in forest science. And UFRO's mission is to advance research excellence and knowledge sharing and foster development of science-based solutions to forest-related challenges, just like, such as climate change, for the benefit of forests and people worldwide. So the topic, today's topic, forest operations and climate change, fits right into this UFRO's mission, because that is the biggest challenge we are facing now, and we are trying to find science-based forest operation solutions to climate change. So, yes, thank you again for having this this important webinar. And UFRO divides all the forest science disciplines into 9 divisions, and we are Division 3, which is Forest Operations, Engineering, and Management. Here we study about forest operations and our activities on the ground for their safety, environmental impacts, and economics. So this is actually where the rubber hits the ground. And we studied all the practices and forest operations, which is very important. And this division has a total of 10 research groups and 5 working parties. And one of them, one of research groups is 3.07 forest operations in the tropics. And Professor Effie and Professor Noriza are the leaders in this group, which organizes and hosts this webinar. This is just a list of recent events that UFRO Division 3 sponsored. And I marked this webinar in red because this webinar in particular is very important for UFRO and UFRO Division 3 because the climate change is the biggest challenge we are facing. And then the climate change, which is a challenge that needs, the engagement from many people from academia, from industry, and from government. We need to work together, and also across all the disciplines and all the regions around the world. So this webinar is very meaningful for UFRO and UFRO Division 3. And some people might think that forest operations have some distance from climate change. You know, climate change and forest operations, they don't have much common area. But I don't think so. I believe forest operations, what we do on the ground, what activities we do on the ground matter. They matter for the environment. And we are at the interface between forest products and the environment. It's our job to produce timber and supply wood products for human needs without compromising the sustainability of the environment, which is very challenging, but at the same time, there is nothing more important than that. So I believe we need more webinars like this, more conferences like this, more opportunities to talk about how to solve this problem. Okay. What to do to mitigate, what to do in the forest, on the ground to mitigate climate change. So thank you again for hosting this important webinar series. And I'm sure today's webinar, as well as future webinars in this series, will be very informative and successful. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Udam. For this interesting explanation and also encouraging us in carrying out this kind of common share knowledge through the webinars, which is very low carbon actually. We don't have to go here and there and left the carbon footprint. Okay. So everyone, before we going to the next programs, I'd like to inform you that after this webinar, we will create a group of all researchers, scientists, or all those who has interest on tropical forest operations. So I believe together we are will be a strong alliance, or we will create a network, a working group, or whatever it will be. We can do more in answering what Udam just said before. So because we have so many issues, especially when it's relating to climate change issues, in managing our tropical forest sustainably. So we will again invite you in a social media platform later on, which will be discussed after this. And now let's start the main program from this webinar. To this, I'd like to invite Dr. Hasmadi Ismail, Professor Hasmadi Ismail, to lead these sessions. So, Professor Hasmadi, time is yours from now on.
Hi, thank you very much, Dr. FP, for the very good startings for the webinar. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and very good mornings. Very good day to all of you. Maybe good morning, maybe good evening, maybe good night. I don't know. With some part of the world, maybe already night. All right. We are now in the main session for the international webinar of the IUFRO. Is my sound is okay?
Waktu itu sempat ketemu hilang lagi, nggak diurus.
Clear?
Yeah, okay, clear.
Okay, all right, good. I have to check it because we are online. Okay, my name is Muhammad Hasmadi Ismail. Actually, I'm from the Faculty of Forestry, UC Putra Malaysia, and I'm the moderator for today's webinar. Okay, welcome to the webinar Forest Operation and Climate Change, the real sea approach. This seminar actually will focus on the real sea, which is implemented to reduce the carbon emissions from forest harvesting practice that implement reduce impact logging practices. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the forest operation in the tropics, including the selective logging, cause at least half of the emission from tropical forest degradation. And then we know that the tropical forest degradation, including the carbon loss from forests that remain forests, is responsible for much of contemporary which is about 69%, and historically 27% carbon emission are from tropical ecosystem. And then the selective logging actually occurs at least 20%. 20% of the world tropical forest is estimated to account for at least half of this anthropogenic forest degradation emission. The term RIL, reduced impact logging, which refers to set of well-established timber harvesting practices, was first applied to an improved forest management projects in Malaysia actually in 1993. Yeah, and then RIL actually is a set of improved forest timber harvesting guideline for selectively logged natural forests. It is a particular interest because of its relatively low cost and numerous co-benefits. And in addition, we believe the carbon benefit of RIL will have benefit to biodiversity as well. The need to reduce further deleterious environmental impact of logging is widely recognized. And the climate change related to the forest operation are very large topic have been discussing around the world so far. Therefore, we believe the RILC is proposed as a way to maintain timber production while minimizing forest damage, as well as opportunity to benefit from reduction in carbon emission. To participant for any question to speakers, I hope you can please write in the chat rooms, and your question will be answered at the end of the presentation. Yeah. Okay. Now I will proceed to introduce our speakers. Today we have three eminent speakers. Okay. We have Professor Alias from IPB. We have Dr. Iman Santoso from Association of Indonesia Forest Concession Holders, and Dr. Ismail Parlan, the Director General of Forest Research Institute of Malaysia. Welcome to all the speakers, and thank you very much for accepting the invitations. Okay, for the first speaker, I will start. We will start with Prof. Elias. Prof. Elias, I will read the CVs, the short CV for Elias. Okay, Prof. Elias will deliver his presentation entitled "The Role of RIL Implementation in RAD Plus Program." Prof. Elias actually from Department of Management, Faculty of Forestry, IPB University, Indonesia. Prof. Elias graduate from a PhD from Munich University, Germany, and the forestry program undergraduate in IPB University, Indonesia. Now, Prof. Elias is the head of Division of Forest Resource Utilization in the Department of Forest Management, IPB. For the international task, I think he has a wide experience in IFRO as well. He was the deputy of working group of forest operation in the tropics from 2001 2005, and also the FAO Asia Pacific Regional Office. He has several the consultancy projects in Asia, in Malaysia, including the UNDP, GAF, and also in the ASEAN Secretariat. Okay, all right. Without further ado, now I invite Prof. Elias for the first presentation, our webinar today. Prof. Elias, are you ready? The time is yours now.
Okay, yes. So I would like to share my PowerPoint first.
Yes.
I would like to share my phone.
Oh,
PowerPoint
okay. All right.
first.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, please. You operate the slide from your office, yeah, Prof. Elias?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
My home.
At home. Oh, home office.
Home office.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Okay. All right.
Moment,
it's okay.
please. That I want to. There is something make.
You have 20 minutes, for the all speakers.
Moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something hinder me to make it. What is most here? What is?
Can you enlarge the,
Oh,
make it full screen? If, yeah.
yeah. Oh, moment, please. This, oh, yeah.
There's a button at the bottom for enlarge. Yep.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Hasmadi Ismail. Dear Dr. Nareswara, the Dean of the Faculty of Forestry and Environment, IPB University, Professor Wudam Chung, the coordinator of IUPRO Division 3, and Dr. Evi Yulianti Yopi, the coordinator of Research Group 2.07 IUPRO. Thank you for the opportunity given to me as a speaker in this webinar. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion, I would like to speak about the role of RLC implementation in RED programs. The outline of my presentation consists of, first, conventional logging, reduced impact logging, and reduced impact logging for climate in the forest operation in the tropics. And the second, the RLC approach in the forest operation in the tropics. And the third, the role of RLC in RED Plus program. The tropical natural forests we're talking about today are scattered in the 3 places in the world. First, in the continent of South and Central America, about 400 million hectares. And second, in the African continent, about 180 million hectares. And third, in the South Asia, about 250 million hectares. So the logging methods in the tropical natural forest can be classified into 3 methods. First, conventional logging, or CL. CL is logging with characterized, unplanned, and implemented by unskilled workers. The purpose of CL is to get a maximum of timber production volume per day. Second, reduced impact logging, or RIL. RIL is characterized as systematically planned and implemented by trained workers. The purpose of RIL is to get a high production volume per hectare and to avoid forest degradation. Third, RIL C. C here means climate, RIL for climate. So RIL C characterized as systematically planned and following the sustainable forest management criteria, is important, and implemented by trained workers. The purpose of RIL C is to get moderate production volume per hectare and to avoid forest degradation and to increase forest carbon stock growth. The role of RIL C is to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and to increase removals in RED Plus program. So, ladies and gentlemen, conventional logging is very dangerous job. So the following show us the failing techniques in the conventional logging. The position of the tree feller here is chainsaw operator during felling activities is in standing position on the ground or on the buttresses. On the buttresses, this position is ergonomically not good and very dangerous for work safety. These felling techniques cause also heavy damage on the residual stands and also a lot of logging waste. Contrarily, the RIL felling techniques. This picture shows us three real felling techniques. First is felling technique with conventional method by making knocked or open cut and back cut to directional felling. In these felling techniques, the position of the chainsaw operator during tree felling is ergonomically and work safety much better than the feller position of the tree felling in the conventional logging. This felling technique produces better results in the directional felling and produce lower logging waste. The stump left after felling is lower than 50 centimeters from the ground. Second, cutting precious trees, such as ramin trees, Gonistyrus bancanus, and thick trees, Tectona grandis. The specialty of these felling techniques is that prior to felling the tree, digging the soil around the tree stump to make knocked and back cut as low as possible. This felling technique can save us up to 0.8 cubic meter timber per felled tree. The third is real felling technique using buttresses to direct the felling direction of the tree. The next are the skidding techniques. Real skidding technique in the dryland tropical natural forest use lighter skidding tractors like this, attached with cable wings or fire lead or clamps in order to reduce damage to the soil and vegetation around the skid trail. Real skidding technique in the big swamp natural forest use kuda-kuda system. This kuda-kuda system is used by communities in swamp forests in Kalimantan and Sumatra Islands, and also used by local communities in Malaysia. The picture below here are rimbaka or log fisher skidding machines made in Malaysia. Skidding with rimbaka or log fisher is able to full logs until 300 meters from the landing or skid trails. Ladies and gentlemen, this table shows us the research results of logging damage caused by CL and reel. Based on this data, it can be concluded that reel implementation can decrease 50% of the logging damage caused by CL. Now, we go into the second part of the presentation. The real sea approach in the forest operation in the tropics. The real sea approach in selective cutting silvicultural system in the tropical natural forest using the following concept. First, logging is a mine treatment in the selective cutting silvicultural system. This means logging must create an optimal stand structure and composition on the residual stand. Second, the damage to the natural forest due to logging is unavoidable. What we can do is to minimize the damage of logging, and this can be done by implementing real reduced backlogging, and in this case, by using a real sea approach to achieve sustainable tropical natural forest management. So ladies and gentlemen, in real sea implementation, one of the most important factors is how to determine logging intensity. This graph theoretically show how to determine the optimal logging intensity. On the y-axis, at the top, show income of logging, and at the bottom here, show the cost of logging. While the x-axis show logging intensity. The black line here show income of logging. The higher the logging intensity, the bigger the revenue. While this red line shows the total cost of logging consists of operation costs, rehabilitation costs, environmental and social costs. The income of this black line minus the cost of this red line. So then we'll get this green line, show the profit or loss of logging. Here we see there is a minimum logging intensity and a maximum logging intensity. The optimal logging intensity is at the maximum profit in the middle of this green line. The real C approach in sustainable natural forest management consists of, first, the implementation of sustainable forest management criteria, and second, the implementation of real technology. The sustainable forest management criteria consists of, first, logging intensity is not more than forest production capacity. Second, forest ecosystem recovery capacity is maintained. And third, species diversity is maintained. The implementation of real technology is carried out in 3 steps of logging. First is logging planning, second, logging operation, and third, after logging. The important things in real C implementation in strategic planning is consists of, first, zoning forest areas into production zones and non-production zones. Here is, for example, production zones, and then conservation forest zone and protected forest zone. And second, arrangement of production areas into blocks of annual work plan. Operational planning is using first criteria of sustainable forest management, and second, big scale maps such as contour map and tree location maps to plan logging like this. And the implementation of Rule C in task plan is marking the directional felling and skidding direction plan in the field or in the ground. So we bring the plan on the map to the ground. Rule C implementation in logging operation consists of using real felling techniques and real skidding techniques. These pictures show the felling techniques of tree without buttresses and tree with buttresses. So is the result. And this is the real skidding techniques process. Important things is during skidding, the skidding tractors only moves on the skid trail and using winching techniques to bunch the logs in the stand. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the last part of presentation. The role of Rule C in REDD+ programs. First, the role of Rule C in reducing carbon dioxide emissions and maintaining forest carbon stock. This table presents the research result at Inhutani 2 company, a forest concession in North Kalimantan, Indonesia. Real estate logging intensity here is 5 trees per hectare. Log produced by CL 29 and by real 35 cubic meter per hectare. The carbon stock in the residual stand of CL is 44 and in real is 107 ton carbon per hectare. The carbon in necromass and litter in CL area is 55 and in real area is 32 ton carbon per hectare. So based on this data, carbon dioxide emissions caused by production of 1 cubic meter of logs in CL area is 6.9 ton carbon dioxide. And in real area is 3.37 carbon dioxide. So real carbon impact factor or CIF is 3.55 carbon dioxide per meter cubic of logs production. So the conclusion of this study is as follows. First, the remaining carbon stock after logging in real area is 77% and in CL area is 45% of the total carbon stock before logging. Second, real implementation can decrease carbon dioxide emission by 51% of the carbon dioxide emission caused by CL. And third, the CLF of real is equal to 3.55 tons carbon dioxide per cubic meter of timber production. Second, the role of real C in enhancement of forest carbon stock. The growth of carbon stock in residual stand of real area and CL area is shown in this table. Based on this data, it can be concluded first, carbon dioxide absorption rate of real residual stand is 1.7 to 1.8 times of carbon dioxide absorption rate of CL residual stand. Second, carbon stock growth rate in real residual stand is 3 to 4.5 tons C per hectare per year, and carbon stock growth rate in CL area is 1.8 to 2.5 carbon per hectare per year. So ladies and gentlemen, this graph showed the role of real C in increasing removals of REDD in the REDD+ programs. Here we can see the development of carbon stock growth for one felling cycle of tropical natural forests. This green line showed the carbon stock development in the area of CL residual stand. And this brown line shows the carbon stock development in the area of real residual stand. So based on this graph, it can be concluded, first, the average of real carbon stock additionality is circa 42 tons C carbon per hectare. Second, forest management of tropical natural forest using conventional logging is not sustained because the carbon stock after felling cycle is smaller smaller than the carbon stock before logging. Third, the forest management of tropical natural forest using a real sea approach is able to sustain. The carbon stock after felling cycle is bigger than the carbon stock before logging. So the last is the financial analysis of real sea implementation indicate that real sea implementation is financially feasible. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Now I would like to give the lead to Professor Hasmadi Ismail. Professor Hasmadi Ismail, the forum is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Elias, for the interesting presentation on the topic entitled the role of RIL implementation in RED Plus program. Yeah, basically, I think I'm very interested to show what you show on the slide about the concept of logging intensity. Maybe we will have a question later on from the participant. All right. Okay. Next, we go to the second speaker. Our second speaker for today is Dr. Iman Santoso. Dr. Iman Santoso will talk about the real and real sea approaches for climate change solution and sustainable forest management in Indonesia. Okay, currently Dr. Iman Santoso is a vice chairman of Indonesia Forest Conservation Association. He graduated from a PhD from Institute Pelayanan Bogor, IPB, and have a Master Science in Forestry from Michigan State University in 1992. And he also a senior policy advisor in the Conservation International Indonesia from 2014, and aboard Earth Innovation Institute Indonesia, aboard Land Tenure Working Group Indonesia, and also actually Dr. Iman is a Director General Production Forest Management, Ministry of Forestry Indonesia from 2010 to 2012. Okay, Dr. Iman, are you ready now? The time is yours. Dr. Iman? Okay. All right. You can see your slide now. Okay, all right.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, yes. Very well.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Iman Santoso, and thanks for Pak Asmati for introducing me, and Honorable Dr. Wooden Chang from the UFRO Division 3, and also organizing committee for this very interesting webinar. Honorable Dr. my close friend, Dr. Nareswara Nugroho. Selamat pagi, Pak. Dr. Ismail Parlan from DG TRIM, and honorable participant. First of all, I would like to convey the warm regards, salam, from the chairman of the Association of Indonesia Forest Concessionaire, Professor Indra Yono Susilo, supposed to be here with us today, but unfortunately there is a sudden invitation from other institution that he has to also to present some points of view from the association. From this presentation, I would like to introduce what APHI is and what is real and real sea within the operation of concession holder, and I will also share with you all some experiences in the field and also challenges that we are facing in practicing real sea. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's clear.
Okay.
Clear.
Yes, Pak. Okay, clear.
Yeah. The
Proceed.
last is the challenge we are facing in practicing real C. Please next. Next, Effie. Thank you. So, who we are? Of the total Indonesia forest area in our country of about 120 million hectares, about 30 million point 66 is allocated in the spatial plan as a production forest, which is operated by HPH. HPH is hak pengusahaan hutan, is concession for the natural resources by selected logging, and about 293 units of plantation forest and about 16 units for restoration ecosystem. So that's the feature of the concessionaire in Indonesia, but not all of the unit of the concessionaire are member of the Association of Forest Concessionaire. We only have about 265 units in the association. Next. Next, Mbak Evi. Oh, from the members of APHI who fully apply real is only 28 units, and partially applied only 229 unit management. They scattered in the East Kalimantan. There are 8 units of concessionaire that applied real. In the Central Kalimantan, we have 8 units that apply real, and Riau is in Sumatra. It's only 1 concession that apply real, and in North Kalimantan, we have 2 units of concession that applying real, and in Papua, we have 3. The big company there that applying real. West Kalimantan, we have 2, and West Papua, we have 2, and Maluku, we have 1, and North Maluku, that 1. So you can imagine how scattered the unit of concession and who practicing real in Indonesia, from the very west of the Indonesia in Sumatra to the very east in the Papua. So we can imagine how to organize and how to monitor that overall. Next, yes. We have experience of practicing real in some unit. Here, I would like to show the practice of real in Dwima Group, a big concessional timber concession in Central Kalimantan, which started in 2008. And then followed by 7 concessions of the group. So by practicing the first real in the group, the other concession realized that it's better to practice in real for the better management of the operation. They realized that benefits are easier control to harvesting operation because of good plan and good map in the real. So the management of the concession feel it more easier to have to monitor the operation of the harvesting. And then the second benefit, it reduce impact on forest ecosystem, decreasing open of forest area, decreasing disturbance of remaining trees of forest stand, decreasing soil compaction and avoiding soil erosion, and also reducing ineffective planting activities. The other benefit from practicing real in this unit is increased productivities and income of workers up to 30% because of the efficiency of the production by using real technique. It occurs in the chainsaw and tractor operator and others operation unit. The other benefit is reduced cost of heavy equipment operation because of the efficiency of the operation of the heavy equipment like spare part, fuel, maintenance, and so on. Lanjut, next. Next, Evie. Why we have to change to rail C, and we transform from rail to rail C. On April 2021, 159 units are SFM certified, meaning that the units operation in very good situation and in very good condition and performance. And 25 units certified as a legal operation, which is no illegal logging, no illegal timber produced in these units through the assessment by TLAS, Timber Legality Assessment System, or SVLK. Up to now, 15 July 2021, 24 concession of natural forests, which is practicing selective logging, are FFC certified, SFM. And based on the research from the R&D of the Ministry of Forestry, it identified that poor logging out of the certified operation practices contribute to significant carbon emission. That's why we concern with the carbon emission. So we have to transform from rail to rail C. That's the reason why, practical reason. Next. Next, Abby. Okay. Here, I would like to share with you all that Indonesia has the first nationally determined contribution or NDC, its commitment to reduce emission from the Indonesia. Rail C is a prioritized solution to meet the NDC target. Of the total reduction of emission, about 834 metric ton CO2 equivalent per year, it should be 60% from the forest, which is it will depend on the successful practices of reduced impact logging carbon, climate or rail C. So here we can see the very clear target of reduction of emission of Indonesia, which is 60% come from forestry sector, meaning that the operation in the production forest should be using a rail C approach. That's the second reason why we have to transform from rail to rail C. Next. The legal basis for the operation of the concession with the special attention to sustainability of the forest and also reduction in emission of carbon is from the existing or new regulation. I would like to share with you that just last year, Indonesia has a new act on how to improve the business environment to create more jobs for the people of Indonesia. And so the parliament and government of Indonesia issue the act number 11 in 2020, which is in the article 36 of the act mentioned that the holder of forest business license are obliged to maintain and manage the concessionaires in a sustainable way. So it's the obligation for the concession holders to manage the concession in sustainable way. This is the law. And it's very clear stated in the new Act number 11 dated to 2020. And then this Act is derivated into some regulation. The first level of regulation is the government regulation number 23, which is issued in 2021. It's about the operation of the forest. It's mentioned in Article 56 and 283. There are more than 500 articles in this regulation. It's very long regulation. It's mentioned that the holder of forest business license in production forest must apply reduced impact logging, REL techniques in harvesting timber. And the holder of forest business license in production forest are subject to administrative sanction if they do not apply REL techniques in harvesting timber. So it's very, very strong. It's very, very, it's very, very demanding law or regulation that the production forest should be managed in very sustainable way by practicing reduced impact logging. And then this government regulation number 23, followed by ministerial regulation number 8. It's issued in 2021, which is in the article of 153, mentioned that the holder of forest business license, which are utilizing natural forests that have implemented reduced impact logging REL or reduced impact logging carbon or REL-C. I don't know why it's set as REL carbon, not REL climate change. This may apply for increasing logging efficiency, especially exploitation factors. So it's very clear that REL-C has been in the legal framework of Indonesia government. So it's something that we call as a must practices that should be practiced by logging concessionaire. Lanjut, next. What is from REL to REL-C? In the REL, as Professor Elias mentioned before, we perceive that we have to be careful and purposeful in managing the production forests by making spatial planning and mapping very carefully that depict all biophysical situation of the concession into a very detailed plan. And then we have also to make a tree cutting and felling plan, which ensure that the tree cutting is safe for the operator, for the residual forests, and the felling is in the right direction, that not jeopardizing the situation of the forest environment. Also plan carefully in the skidding and hauling, that make sure that the environment or ecosystem of the forest will be still very good condition. And we realize the benefits from REL, that it will be more cost-effective operation, and better residual strength, and erosion can be controlled easily, and better and safer work environment, and higher timber production, and protection of the habitat and biodiversity. That's the real concept that we perceive in the operation of forest concession in Indonesia. Then we are going to transform to REL-C, which is we add with the related measurement like measurement of carbon stock, measurement of emission, an assessment for baselining and the impact of the climate change. All have been and still in the study process by the Research and Development Agency of the Ministry of Forestry. And we expect some additional benefit from practicing REAL-C. The first is it will be higher carbon stock in the residual stock compared to the real, compared to the residual stock, residual forest from the real practices. And we will have better carbon removal since we treat the residual trees properly, so they can make good growth and absorb carbon from the atmosphere. And the most important thing, we will contribute to the NDC target achievement. As I mentioned before, that the target for the emission is very high for forestry sector. Here, I would like also to share the situation of timber production from 2015 to 2020. We see that in the graph, that's what's that? Decreasing production from 2018 to 2020. It's because some factors like climate, heavy rain, market price, and so on. Here, by practicing REAL-C or real, we are going to expect it increase in 2020 because we have some recommendation to uplift the exploitation factor higher than before, so that we can end up with the higher production from 2000 to 2021. Next. Next, this is the emission reduction from REAL-C. Baseline average logging emission of 51.1 tons carbon equivalent per hectare in effective logging area. And by REAL-C practices, we reduced 26 to 60 of baseline emission. Assume that 40% emission reduction and annual cutting blocks of logging concession in Indonesia is about 466,000 more. REAL-C should potentially reduce 6.6 million tons carbon equivalent per year, or 24 million tons CO2 per year. It's based on the prediction made by TNC. Next. The first test REAL-C is one of our corporation. It's potentially be increased 39%. And hello. Hello.
Yes, we can. Yeah, it's clear from
Sorry.
here.
Okay, clear.
Sorry, it's unstable connection here in my home. This is the first testing REAL-C in one of our members at PT Karya Lestari. From the hauling road, skate trail, harvester slope. This is also a study made by the Nature Conservancy. Next.
Dr. Iman, sorry interrupting you. Maybe 3 minutes more.
Okay. Scale up REAL-C implementation. REAL-C practice have been conducted at PT Utama Damai, and it will be scale up to other concession. Next. Next. In progress, we have a cooperation with the FCPC Carbon Fund Framework for REDD+ performance-based incentive, where 35 concessions will be encouraged to implement REAL-C within period of 2018 to 2024. National implementation will be a policy government regulation from the government, and here we have 155 active concessions which are having SFM certified. Next. Now, I would like to share also with you the challenge we are facing now in practicing REAL-C in Indonesia. We still have scientific support from the RT agencies and accession and education to the forestry corporation, and also, of course, the capacity building in the planning and MRV of the practice of REAL-C. Financial support is must also, even though Professor Elias mentioned that it's feasible, but to some extent, it's still many additional costs we have to spend in practicing this. Incentive and disincentive should be applied for this practice, because it's obligation, but we need some support for that. And we're still waiting for the carbon economy policy, which include the tax of the carbon emission and the possibility of doing trade of carbon credit, and also incentive, fiscal incentive, and also other non-fiscal incentives that we need to in using the more complicated procedure. I think that's all that I can share with you all, and thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Iman, for the nice presentation. I think from the industrial or government perspective, especially in the certification of the logging concessions, and also show some evidence of the improving of RL to RLC, that they can maintain the carbon stocks in the natural forest. Give me a few minutes because I want to. Okay, good. We have a few questions from the chat room. I will read the question later after the third presenter. Thank you for everyone who has wrote the question in the chat room. Okay, so very impressive. We have many participants from Bosnia. Oh, it's great. Yeah, from Turkey as well. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we go for the third speaker today. Okay, the third speaker will talk about reducing carbon emissions through improved forest management. The speaker is Dr. Ismail Parlan. A bit about Dr. Ismail Parlan. Dr. Ismail Parlan, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, good. Nice to hear your voice. Okay, all right. Dr. Ismail Parlan currently is the Director General of Forest Research Institute Malaysia. He obtained a first and second degree in forest management from UC Putra Malaysia (UPM) and a PhD in ecology from UC Kebangsaan Malaysia (UKM). Dr. Ismail Parlan has served as a research officer at FRIM since 1996. He has a research. His research area are mainly on peat-swamp forest ecosystem, covering forest rehabilitation, reduced impact logging, ecology, forest fire, and wetland management and conservation. As of 2020, he has been involved in writing up more than 200 publications, including 20 books covering various aspects of forestry, mainly on wetland forests. He has served in various technical committees on wetland and also related issue, and he was a project manager for FRIM ITTO REEDES project on improved forest management and climate change mitigation from 2013 to 2016.
Okay, Dr. Ismail Parlan, are you ready? Okay. Your time is yours now, Dr. Ismail.
Is it my slide okay? Okay.
Your slide, yeah, it's okay. It's clear, and your voice also well, good.
All right. So thank you. Thank you very much, moderator, Prof. Hasmandi, my good friends. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Now 12:15 p.m. in Malaysia. Good afternoon to everybody, to distinguished guests, the speakers, and to all the audience through this Zoom webinar. Actually, I'm very glad to be one of the speakers today. I'm very keen to share with all of you on the work by FRAME. As mentioned by the moderator just now, I was the project manager of the one project. And I'm going to share with you the scope on the reducing carbon emission through improved forest management in our country, in Malaysia. You see there, REDES Malaysia. This is our project. Last time we got funding from ITTO. I'm going to explain a bit more on that. So basically, with myself, I have Dr. Azam Mohti. She is head of climate change and project program FRAME. So we prepared this slide together. Actually, I'm glad to get involved with this IPB University Bogor, UPM Malaysia, and also the IFRO Division 3. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this is not the first. After this, we're going to share our way to involve in your activities. I have 20 minutes. I try my best to complete within 20 minutes all my presentation. Just bear with me about 20 minutes. And you can ask a question that you will need clarification. But I believe many things already shared by the two speakers before me. But you can ask me on the what I call specifically on the Malaysian perspective. Okay. We should in the next slide. Okay. Okay, we are now in the second slide. This is my outline of my presentation.
Sorry, Dr. Ismail, can you enlarge your slide? Full.
That's why I just think. Sorry, that's the thing.
Is it from PowerPoint? Is it?
Okay, maybe sorry about that. I will try to stop my. I don't know.
But if cannot, it's okay. You can proceed.
Oh, you can see.
Yeah.
The overall.
Can, but it's okay. Okay, no problem. You can proceed.
Is it okay?
But it's better if you can make it bigger.
Okay. I'm so sorry for that. We have tried run before.
Yeah.
No, not sure why. I just can proceed.
Just proceed.
Later you can ask question
right.
to me. This is my outline within 20 minutes given. I'm going to briefly inform you how we manage our forests in our country, in particular in Peninsular Malaysia. Then we go to FRAME ITTO REDES, the one that I was the project manager. And then we're going to discuss on what are the improved forest management that have been conducted by Forestry Department. It's not by FRAME. We are R&D institution, as mentioned by Dr. Iman just now. You need R&D, you need research, right? We are FRAME, we are research institution. So this one actually improved by Forestry Department, Peninsular Malaysia, and been carried out by respective State Forestry Department. And then the carbon stock assessment, and lastly on the conclusion. Okay, now we are on the third slide on the forest management SFM in Malaysia, in particular in Peninsular Malaysia. Basically, every year, the speaking state in Malaysia will submit the proposed annual code to National Land Council. Once the National Land Council approve, this one checked by Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, then they're going to do pre-filing inventory for the area that's going to be cut. They prepare all the harvesting plan, everything as been mentioned by Dr. Prof. Elias and also Dr. Iman just now. Over there, they're going to prepare the cutting limits, and cutting limits, and then with the tagging. Later, when they got all the approval, we're going to be selective harvesting. Only about 4 to 5 trees being cut down every hectare. The rule and regulation is in the forest reserve. The rule and regulation to be followed by the operators. Basically, for information, in Malaysia, we consider our practices already RIL, RIL. But then, for sure, we need to improve some part of the activities. After the harvesting completed, 3 to 4 years later, they will conduct what we call post-felling inventory to know what are the still culture treatment to be conducted, suitable to be conducted in those areas. Normally by expert planting or climate cutting. And within 30 years, and so this area will be regenerated and the logging can be conducted. This is what we call sustainable forest management in the cycle about 30 years time. Okay, so a little bit on the forest area. We have about 18 million hectare. Malaysia, basically, we are very small compared to Indonesia. Indonesia is 6 times bigger than us. Just now, Dr. Iman showed us Indonesian forest area is about 120 million hectare. So Malaysia total land area just 32 million hectare. But we have about 55.3 hectare is the forest. And you can see over there the permanent reserve forest, the forest reserve about 10 million hectare. And the totally protected forest such as the national park is estimate about 3 million. And we have land bank, we call state land forest for the volume. But in our mind that Malaysia is still a developing country, right? So we need development. So we have land bank about 4 million hectare in our country. This is a very recent statistic I got from our ministry, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, or KETSA, Malaysia 2020. I'm so sorry, the system not that fast. Okay, a little bit on the forest area. So I just to show that PRIM institution, we are doing this forest profile. We have mangrove, swamp, lowland, and hill. And for information, logging activities only been conducted below than 1,000 meter above sea level, mostly in the hill area, in the hill area, because this is a major forest type in our country. But we do have in mangrove, of course, and some part in peat swamp forest. Actually, Prof. Ilyas have been one of our consultant in 2004-2005. We invited him to be one of the consultant in the harvesting project in peat swamp forest in state of Pahang. Okay, just proceed. This is the project. PRIM Actuarius that I was the project manager. It was conducted in 2013 to 2016. Entitled Reducing Forest Degradation and Emission Through Sustainable Forest Management, SFM, in Peninsular Malaysia. So we use the whole area of Pahang with 3.6 million hectare of Pahang, and the forest area encompasses about 2.02 million hectare. We selected this area, this state, because it's the biggest state in Peninsular Malaysia. They have all of forest type in this country: the mangrove, the peat swamp, and also the inland forest, and also the what they call the dependence of the forest resources still significant. About 100 million ringgit Malaysia, about 100 million ringgit is about what, 25 million US$ per year annually income for the state from the forestry sector. Right, this is the project. This big project actually, we got $600,000 from ITTO Yokohama and another 300,000 from Malaysian government for the 3 to 4 years. For outputs, as stated in the slide, but today, due to time limitation, I just going to focus the one in the green. Second, the output number 2.2, assessment of emission reduction through improved sustainable forest management, SFM. I'm going to highlight or focus on this because I have not enough time to explain all. But I think this is something that related to the theme of this webinar on the RIL climate. So we're going to focus on this. Okay, these are the improvement by forestry department. First, the even though it's not mandatory, but they are encouraged the logging operators to use more long haulage winching system, such as Rimbaka, mentioned just now by the Professor Elias, Rimbaka Timber Harvester and the Lockfish. I'm going to show you the photograph later. And the riverine buffer zone, about 20 meters in both sides. Fruit trees, about 31 species of fruit trees are not allowed to be cut. And we have, Forest Department have what they call maximum allowable cut. Even though the forest is very rich, the tropical forest is very rich, but they only can cut up to 61 cubic meters per hectare. This one for the unlocked or virgin. I don't want to use virgin. People will be much confused on that. But unlocked area, 31 cubic meters, the maximum can be taken out from forest. But the follow-up one, 43 cubic meters. And after the logging completed, the logging operators have to replant planting in the temporary log yards or matao and the skid trails. All the skid trails have to be planted. Then this the methods. The file just now we have the logging system. The normal one we use crawler tractor. It's normal crawler tractor. But in this case we study on the using of Rimbaka Timber Harvester described by Prof. Elias just now. It's actually just recently introduced in 2010. But now we have another machine coming in. We call it Lockfisher. So we assess the what they call the outcome of this two system in terms of the carbon stocks retained. Then second one, protection of fruit trees for 31 species of fruit trees. This regulation comes in 2008. The fruit trees like a ficus species, you know, that are we have 31 list of the species. In fact, we come up with a book on that. So these trees are not allowed to be cut. It's meant for the fauna in the forest. And for the maximum volume control, in 2007, the standing volume, as I said just now, only 61 cubic meters are allowed to be taken out for the forest. You know, this is the limit. They calculated the limit in the checking station. So when it reached to the limit, then no more trees can be taken out from the forest. So we have cutting limits for the true cup of 65 cm, yeah, the minimum size, and the non-true cup is 55 cm, the size of the minimum size to be cut. Buffer zone, you know, the riverine buffer zone, important to the control to the damage to the stands. Based on the study, this one implemented in 2003. Based on the study in one of the concessionaire in Terengganu, the buffer zone can add up to about 7.2% of the total area. And the planted trees, as I said just now, in Matao or in Skid Trail, Sinton tree, and we're talking about 40 trees per hectare being planted. All in all, actually, besides this, the Malaysia, the forest activity in forest reserve is born to forest certification. Yeah, now just now, Professor Imam was image on it. This all also born to forest certification. We have situation Malaysia, Indonesia, and if I'm not mistaken, and Brazil, the only 3 countries that have their own national scheme on the forest certification. So we are really, even though it's not mandatory yet, yes, but something that very encouraged by our government on the forest certification. Okay, next will be on the machine. Now the Rimbaka over there at the back, and the Lockfisher in the below. Both are production of Malaysia. I have lucky enough to visit this Lockfisher production area, production plant in Johor Bahru, in the southern part of Peninsular Malaysia. They have number of models, at least 4 models already come out. It's up to you. You want how in terms of the capacity. The range of the price, it was about years back, about 1.5 to 300,000 US$ per unit. I was informed a bit, not just Malaysia, but other country like Papua New Guinea also use this machine. And on our right is only normal protect. Okay, this quite common on the carbon pools. In the study, we conclude all the carbon pools. So yes, respective methods in the 5 activities just now. The sampling area, they calculated all the carbon retained after the activity being completed. Yeah, above that wood, meter, soil, and below ground, and the soil is up to 30 cm from the surface. Okay, these are the result of the study. first, because this on the RRL, right? So I just pick up this one to show to all of you on the logging system, the corporate and the long haulage. We're talking about when using the long haulage, it can reduce up to 3 times of the loss of the biomass. Just now I noted here from the Elias in Indonesia, from his study, about 1.7 to 1.8 times the loss. But in this case, we recorded more greater safe, meaning that if you use the long haulage, the biomass removal or the carbon loss will be less, about 3 times. The contractor produced about 24.34 carbon loss, while the long haulage just 8.04 ton carbon per hectare from the study. Now, okay, overall result from this activity. First one is on the logging system. If we use this long haulage cable system as compared to the protractor, we are talking about 16.3 ton carbon per hectare can be saved, retained in the forest. Retained in the forest. On the fruit tree, we're talking about 29.5. The wave control 60.5 ton carbon per hectare, and buffer zone 21.7 ton carbon per hectare. But we not take it all, because even though we have this, maybe some of the trees will not taken. All trees are not being taken out, even though we have this kind of regulation. But for the fruit trees, we just estimated about 24% only the gain of the carbon, about 7.1 ton carbon per hectare. For the retaining of the fruit trees, we're talking about we can add up another 7.1 ton carbon per hectare in the forest. By having that volume control, we're talking about 45.4 ton carbon per hectare can be saved, can be retained in the forest, in the forest ecosystem. While for the buffer zone, we're talking about 5.2 ton carbon per hectare be retained, based on the implementation of the regulation, not do cutting in the buffer zone. While for the planted trees, very small, we're talking about very small trees, small trees being planted in the forest. Very small, but hopefully it later can grow and contribute to the carbon stock as well. Only 0.1 ton carbon per hectare, not much, but something can be, something that we can. I think enough to my presentation. I think very quick one. Now only 18 minutes. By having good practice on the harvesting, we believe that we can really contribute to the good, improvement of forest management. And I'm happy to say that this is my by-forest department, not by FRIM. FRIM just doing the research, so we have to congratulate the forest department. In this case, the Department of National Malaysia and Pahang State Forest Department for having this, for implementing this kind of regulation. Even though it's not compulsory, but they have their own initiative to encourage the logging operators to follow their rules. By doing that, actually, not just contribute to the good because stand, the remaining stand, but also actually contributing a lot on the environment, in the case of stock of putting carbon stock in the forest. So, as mentioned by Dr. Iman just now and Prof. Elias, one of the challenges is on the cost. And also I put it a little bit on the skill. We need skilled workers. We're talking about the machineries. Actually, when we discuss with the operators, they have to invest, because they have already all machineries. But having this machine, they have to invest. But if like Indonesia, we have a lot of concessionaire. If we can have more concessionaire in our country, maybe be something that can be used more suitable for them, because they have to invest quite much. So if we can give them concessionaire, long-term concessionaire, then that can be very advantageous for them. For information, the output of the project, the overall, the 4 output just now I mentioned, we already presented to National Land Council in 2019. A very encouraging response from the top decision makers. So they really understand that we need to have these very good harvesting practices, and they are very encouraged. Yet to be, even the certification in Malaysia is yet to be compulsory, but very encouraged. The government very encouraged and give support and incentive for them to try to to try to be certified forest area. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. I'm very sorry if the slide is not very clear, and you are welcome to ask any question. I try my best to answer. So thank you very much. I give back to Prof. Hasmadi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ismail Parlan. Okay, your slide is clear, no problem. And thank you. You are keeping the time very well.
Yeah, 30 minutes, right?
Okay. Yeah, from the three of the presentation, actually, I noticed there are improving of the reduced impact logging. That's a good effort from the third, some research that we are continuously trying to improve the reduced impact logging, and then with the RL C carbon is more give our challenge to bring something that the forest operation or harvesting is still relevant, that we are trying our best to maintain the ecosystem as well. Besides, we need the production for the revenue and so on. Okay, now I will look at the questions. Yeah, okay. We go to the question and answer Q&A. Let me see the chat room. Wow, okay. So yeah, I will look at the first question from the top. The first is not question, just hello, say hello. And where's the first questions? Hang on, one. Give me a few. Where is the? Where is the question? Where is the question? Good morning. Okay, all right. This is the first question. Okay. From Haimun from UKM, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Okay, she not specific. Who is will answer this question? Okay, okay. Dear panelists, what are the challenges in implementing the real sea approach? Actually, okay. Dr. Ismail, can you respond to this? Just about what is challenges in implementing the real sea approach? Yep.
I touched a little bit just now. The challenges, among others, are the cost, right? Even been mentioned by Dr. Iman just now. Cost also one of the challenges, because the operators they have to invest more on the machineries. They have the old machineries, now they have to invest one. But from our thinking, if we can have more long-term consciousness in Peninsular Malaysia, we have right now only one in Terengganu, and the one in Terengganu was quite small, but this one in Terengganu about 100,000 hectares. That one's a little bit okay because they have what they call secured area to be logged in their concession. Okay, that one. Another one is skilled workers. We need more skilled workers on this. We are talking about using the new machineries, but that wants to be no problem because in Malaysia we have department, they have a training center for the loggers, also in Terengganu. So then hopefully if we have a very good decision by the government, like the one in Indonesia, they have a lot of rule that actually imposed by the government to use the RIL or to the machinery, then maybe we can have it. In fact, but I have to inform you that in Malaysia, we are yet to compulsory or mandatory. We are more, even the certification is on the voluntary basis, but very encouraged by our government to all the concessionaires, all the operators, local operators, to have or to follow the rules that been laid out by the authorities. I think that one on the challenges, maybe another speaker can add up a little bit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we entertain one question. Okay, it's from Associate Professor Dr. Secha, Ganda Secha from UPM. Okay. Now this for Prof. Elias, dear Prof. Elias, I read very interesting and important research finding. So the question is how the RLC has been implemented in Indonesia and how many HPAs implement the system? That's the question from Dr. Secha. to Prof. Elias. Oh. Yeah, Prof. Elias, you. Maybe he's unmute or please. Dr. Elias. Oh, okay. The microphone. Okay, all right.
Okay, it's okay. No?
Okay, all right.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Secha from UPM. I think your question for real implementation in Indonesia mainly was already answered in presentation of Dr. Imam Santoso. Yeah, and for real C is different from real. Yeah, so real C approach in the forest operations, I still not see any in Indonesia. Any consistent applied this real C approach for real C approach. This means that for climate, yeah, that as I explained before, that they in the planning of logging planning, using sustainable forest management criteria such as not cutting more than forest productivity, and also maintained the diversity of species, and also maintain of the capacity of residual stands recovery. I don't see any in Indonesia now, but I think it will be, because later on, if you imply or apply Rule C, so there is will be more incentive in for example, in application of this Rule C in REDD or in other scheme. I think it's the question. Okay, I answered this question already. Prof.
Yeah, Prof. Elias, thank you,
yes,
thank
okay.
you. Okay, all right.
Can I add a little bit, Prof? I think if we can have the volume control is something very important on the RLC.
Yes, okay. All right. Can.
The volume control, how much maximum can be taken out from the forest is something very important if you want to go for RLC. In that, they cannot take, above the cutting limit. Before you can take all, but now by having that volume control, I think good. We can control how much of the timber taking out, and by doing that, we can retain a lot of carbon in the forest, a lot of biomass and carbon.
Okay, thank you. All right. Another question from Mr. Ismail Adnan at Sirim. Okay, Mr. Ismail is actually our former lecturer in Faculty of Forestry. Okay. All right. The question to Prof. Iman, Dr. Iman. It seems that there are separate guidelines between RIL and RILC in Indonesia. Are there any reference for any party to understand fully RILC? Yeah, Dr. Iman. Oh, the microphone is mute. Can you unmute your? Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, as I mentioned before, that the Agency for Research and Development is still developing the method to measure the impact of RIL to the reduction of emission, whether it's from the land, from the lower level of the forest, and also from the absorption from the residual forest. It's very important. So that why I put the problem of scientific base for LC measurement is very important, because RILC itself is still a very new discussion in the Ministry of Forestry. So as Pak Professor Elias mentioned that we can say that there is no practice of real sea in a complete concept in Indonesia, because we still have what's that, lack of experience and lack of information about how to measure the impact of real sea from the mission part. That's among other that we have some problem we are facing in practicing real sea, but we very sure that we are going to pursue that, because it has been targeted in the NDC that reduction of carbon emission mostly is from the forest land use.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Iman. Okay. Okay, I can read maybe 2 or 3 questions from the, because we have quite many questions as well, but some of the question is similar, redundant. I have to check it. Okay, I think I choose one from the Forest Department, Myanmar. From Myanmar, Mr. Kin Myat So. Okay, dear sir, REAL is very systematic way for timber harvesting operation. You compare the environmental impact assessment between the two of before logging and after logging in Indonesia. And the question is, how can reduce the environmental impact from using RL method instead of normal timber harvesting? I think, yeah, the question is specific for Indonesia. Maybe Prof. Elias can answer this.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Kim Myat. Yeah, Kim Myat So.
Yeah, Kim Myat So, from Myanmar.
This question is very interesting, I think. Actually, that we compare with between conventional logging, reduced impact logging, and reduced impact logging for climate, real sea. This is a difference between the trees. The conventional logging is use business as usual actually, and the real is use reduced impact technique in felling technique and skid trial technique, and also in forest opening up techniques. So in real sea, we use this reduced impact technique, but also using criteria of forest management, sustainable forest management. So we have already some experiences in our research on conventional logging and reduced impact logging. So it have been research that have been long time since 1990 actually until now, and it is already settled that reduced impact logging is better than CL. Is already we do not talk about that, but we want to actually to go to the real sea now. So the difference between real sea and real is actually in the ground. The concession do that, yeah, in the ground is actually logging efficiency, because the aims of the real is to maximize the timber production per hectare. So they just use the real techniques to produce more timber. But real sea is different. Real sea is they just they want to produce timber, but only moderate volume per hectare. Say if the per hectare you can cut 12 trees, so they just cut 6 trees, like that. So they left 6 trees for the climate. This for the climate will be charged by in the incentive of REDD, like that. So it's different. Yeah. So this is the there's a difference between these three of logging system. The purpose is very different, and also the damage caused by these three logging method also very different. So it is answer the question already, Prof. This is the question. I have already answered.
Yeah. Okay. Are you, Prof. Elias? Are you okay? Finish?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. I will take 2 more questions. Yeah. Okay. This one for Dr. Ismail.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. From someone. I don't know from where.
From far away. We have to select the far away.
Theo
Forest, maybe.
From Theo Suwon. Okay, Dr. Ismail, do you think there is a possibility of shifting the focus from logging to carbon trading or financing to generate revenue and retain carbon stock emission? That's the question.
Okay, I think
possible.
Thank you very much for that. Very good question. Many people ask for that. But first, I have to say, bear in our mind that Malaysia, Indonesia, and many countries, we are still developing. You know, we need our natural resources, but we manage our forests properly, as showed by Indonesian speakers, even by myself. We try our best to ensure our resources be managed as good as we could. You know, by having this RRL, RLC, the certification, and we also go in line with the carbon. That's why I said now we try our best to minimize the damage to the forest stand, to ensure or to help the forest to recovery more faster, and at the same time actually putting back a lot of carbon inside the forest. As mentioned by Prof. Elias just now, if you can cut out 12 trees, you just cut but 6 or 5 trees. Just imagine a lot of safe in terms of the carbon inside the forest. So that's what we are doing right now. We're still managing our resources, but we still remember our environment is very important. We're talking about climate change, not just an issue of national issue, but it's a global issue. Everybody is affected. You can see now in Canada, very big fire occurred in Canada right now. Even they are going to have an emergency on the forest fire, very big one open in Canada. You just imagine. If we talk about climate change, not just in our respective countries, but we talk about global. We try our best to balance the development, the natural resource that we need, and also to ensure the carbon or the climate change to mitigate or to minimize the impact. I think that is my response, Dr. Azmani. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ismail, for the response. Okay, I will take the last question before we wrap up the sessions. Okay, Dr. Iman.
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's for you, yeah. From Rankesh Wanat Sanjay. Okay. The government and third parties play very vital role in monitoring and implementing the RILC. The question is, what approach should be followed in order to make logging operators self-conscious and also not compromising the output? What is the approach should be followed?
Thank you. It's very interesting question. As I mentioned before, that in Indonesia, it has been stated in the regulation, in the new regulation. So it's something that should be practices in Indonesia. So it will be a legal framework that mengatur to govern the RILC in very effective way. That's why, as I mentioned before, we are in Indonesia is still in developing the method how to monitor, how to assess the impact, and so on and so on. Pak Asmati, I would like also to share my point of view in the possibility of carbon trade, our business from timber trade to carbon trade. Theoretically, it's possible, but from Indonesia government point of view, we have to achieve our NDC first. Meaning that a concession have get some credit point from the carbon emission reduction. We have to dedicate it to NDC first, and then the second, it's my personal opinion that carbon is additional product or byproduct of the sustainable forest management, meaning that we are not something like, it's not our first objective to sell the carbon, and we also considering that selling carbon is similar to selling license to pollute, right? So we have to be careful in thinking about that, especially if we are offered by very low carbon price, meaning that we sell the license to pollute with very low price. It's morally, it's not good. This is my personal opinion. Because I'm also working for the conservation international, so I have to think of conservation things.
Yeah, interesting, because it's very challenging when we're looking for the feature of the carbon trading, and we still maybe there are mechanisms to evaluate the real price of the carbon, but still continues how we should, because the carbon in the forest now we can trade make it as a business, but the price is still
very low,
very low,
while the demand is very high.
Demand is very high. Okay, right. Thank you to all speakers and to all participants who submit the question. I hope everything is okay and clear now.
Can I just say something, moderator?
Yeah, okay. You
I saw a lot of questions, but I'm not possible to answer all. But
all right,
you can. I have my email address. You can just send to me. I go through a lot of questions. I scroll through the question by the participant. I'm very glad because it shows that everybody is very concerned on this.
Yeah,
climate change and forest management, right? But you sure that we are the researcher at the forest department. We try our best to manage our forest sustainably. You know, you can email to me that I try to answer your question. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyone who has a question that I not read in this seminar because of the time limitations, you can direct send email to the presenters, respective presenters. Okay. Now I will wrap up the sessions. Yeah, for the conclusion, concluding remarks. Okay, dear participants and ladies and gentlemen, I believe that all of you have well done through the webinar, and it is my great pleasure that we had eminent speakers and fruitful discussion in this IFRO webinar, whose main theme was forest operation and climate change, the real sea approach. I expected that every participant presented the real environments and the challenge and solution for the program. So from the, what can I give the highlight from the three presentation that I done a few analysis that I can say that the first is selective logging actually emits about 6% of tropical greenhouse gases annually. Improved practice of RIL can reduce emission by 44% while maintaining timber productions. And a talk by Prof. Elias, I can conclude that the RIL, reduced impact logging seas, the interesting of the logging intensity, the concept of the logging intensity, the minimum and maximum, that's a very good concept that we have to understand. And also some result that Prof. Elias said, reduced impact logging actually decrease 50% emission compared to the conventional logging. Okay, and then from Dr. Iman, also the result is also substantially similar, where the reduced impact logging sea carbons reduce about 26 to 50% of from the baseline carbon emission. That also shows some significant similar that the RLC is reduced, was reduced the emissions of the carbons. And also from Dr. Ismail, the biomass and carbon loss from RIL based on the log fisher and Rimbaka is lower than the crawler tractor, where only 8% per hectare compared to crawler tractor, whereas the crawler tractor is about 24.
8 tons, sorry, 8 tons.
8 tons, yeah, again.
Yeah.
Yes, about 8%. But I put it in a percentage, 8% and 24%. We see the crawler tractor is 24%. The RIL log fisher is only 8%, which is better. We use the RIL. That's the improvement. And then I believe there is a requirement for improved harvesting system in terms of the wood utilizations. We try to narrow down the road size and use a smaller but powerful skidder. And then maybe the good suggestions is to apply target carbon impact factor as a performance benchmark in RIL carbons, RILC. And then we note that on April 28, 2016, the RIL carbons method was officially registered as a global verification standard. Therefore, we have to integrate it within the current regulation of our national forest management or operation. And I wanted you to understand the importance of RIL in forest harvest operation in reducing carbon emission and promote mutual understanding among the participants through this seminar. And I observe the excellent presentations and participants from many countries. Thank you very much. So I can conclude that the purpose of the seminar today has been completely accomplished. In addition, I hope what we have learned through the seminar will help us a lot in our duties and lead to sustainable forest resource management in the future. Finally, on behalf of the IUFRO, IPB University, and UPM, I would like to express my appreciations to all speakers and participants for taking the time to attend the seminar. I would like to close my remarks and officially announce the end of the presentation seminar session, wishing the future prosperity of all of you. Thank you for joining us. Good efforts. See you in the next webinar. So I pass this session to MC for the closing ceremony. Dr. Effie, I pass to you now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Hasmadi. It seems a very interesting seminar. Everyone enjoy, and I still see that so many questions, and even they have discussion not only in the our Zoom but also in the chat room. So I again want to say thank you. Express my how to say it, appreciation to all of you. And as a token of our appreciation actually to all speakers and moderators for their time and valuable contribution for these webinars, on behalf of IPB University, IUFRO, JMHT, and UPM, I would like to present mementos to our speakers and moderators. So this is a certificate from us. We are very, it is a big luck for us, yeah, to learn a lot from all of you. And then also, we also like to present a certificate to our distinguished moderator, which has led this discussion in a very effective way, Professor Hasmadi Ismail.
Thank you very much. How to take this? Print screen.
Yeah, we will send it by email to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
So finally, we come to the end of these webinars. Ibu dan Bapak, Puan and Tuan, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. So May I thank you very much again for your active participations in this webinar. I hope you really enjoyed the program, and don't forget that we will have a second round webinars, perhaps as will be carried out around November this year. So again, thank you very much. Stay safe. Keep well, everyone. See you again. Mata Aimasho. Vela Manus Utra. Goodbye. Selamat siang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes, photograph, of course. Actually, we didn't candid. But perhaps Mr. Corey or someone else can help us with the photograph before we literally leave this
yeah,
Zoom
everyone,
link.
please on your video, your camera.
On your video, 9 page. Okay.
We have 9 pages.
Yeah, 9 pages. Okay, good. Thank you to Ibu Evi. Thank you.
Cheese. Okay. Page 2. Cheese. Page 3. Four. Five. Six. Seven. 8. Okay.
Done. 9 pages. Thank you.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Excellent, everybody.
Models, yeah. Smile all the time.
I'll smile all the time. Yeah, good, good. Okay.
Okay, so yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye,
you.
everyone.
Bye. Okay.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day.
Yes.
Have a nice day,
Terima
everybody.
kasih Bapak, Ibu ya. Terima kasih.
Yeah.
To contact you
Bapak-bapak.
after for working group.
Ya, insyaAllah, insyaAllah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ismail. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
Professor
Yeah,
Ilyas. Thank you, Professor Hasmadi.
Yeah,
We'll
thank you.
see
Thank
you
you.
again.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye all.
later. Thank you, Professor Ilyas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
everyone.
Yofi. I just see the participants' name.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You want to see the, yeah.
Yes. And I think it's time for the organizing committee to gather up, and perhaps we please don't leave the room for a couple minutes. After this, we still have some technical matters to follow up. Perhaps just thank you, Dr. Georges. How are you? How are you, Dr. Georges? Thank you for coming, for joining us
Thank you
here.
very much.